I'm an employee from CIRAD at 2IE, and my unit is called GO. It's in Montpellier, and it's a mixed unit working on water management. And it was my studies for the last 3 years were paid by the project Global Volta, which is a German project on the Volta River. So what is a watershed? A watershed is a territory, an area that catches rainfall water and drains it to an outskirt, how do you say that? The end of the watershed.
The basin?
Outlet. Yeah. Outlet is fine. There is another name. It will come back. Okay, the end. For instance, the outlet.
The delta?
It's very often a delta, but for instance, for the Niger River, it's Niger Delta in Nigeria. For the Volta River, it's not really a delta. You see it's completely closed, the outlet in the ocean. For Senegal, it is a delta, a huge delta. For the Nile, up there also, it's a huge delta. So a watershed is the area that catches water for the river. For instance, here there is an exception. For instance, Algeria is part of the Niger basin, but it doesn't bring any water because it's in the middle of the desert. So they are not part of the Niger River Authority because it's the dead watershed. And all this part is dead. It doesn't bring much water. There is some water coming underground to Niger. It's called Dabble, but not as far as the middle of the desert. So you see the biggest watersheds are Congo, the Nile comes from the Victoria Lake, I think, crosses, I don't know, half a dozen countries. The Niger River crosses, so the basin covers 9 countries. The Volta, it does look like only Ghana and Burkina are part, but there is also part of Mali, Benin, Togo, Côte d'Ivoire. There are 6 countries for the Volta River. For the Senegal River, you have 4 countries. So a little zoom on West Africa. You see also the Lake Chad basin. In fact, it's mainly the Logon and the Shari rivers. It come from Sudan, Cameroon, a little part of Cameroon, Nigeria, Central Africa, and brings water to the Lake Chad. Lake Chad must be here, and it's now drying. And there is a big project called Inga2, where engineers want to build a big dam on the Congo River, on the tributary of the Congo River, and wants to bring the water to the Shari River so as to flood again the Lake Chad, which has a high environmental value, which is a Ramsar site, and which is drying. So it's drying because of climate change, but also because of increasing increasing pumping in the river to produce rice.
Withdrawals.
Withdrawals. Okay, withdrawals. Okay, this is another example. This is a Volta basin between Burkina Faso, Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Mali and Côte d'Ivoire. I think it's 46% in Burkina and 46 something in Ghana. And you see the big lake Volta. I was told it was the biggest lake in the world in terms of area. The area, the surface, is the biggest, and it's an artificial lake, the biggest artificial lake. It's created by the Akosombo Dam. It was built, I don't know, 40 years ago in Ghana. And the problem is that this dam produced most of the electricity for Ghana, and 2 times the water level went below the turbine level, and the economy of Ghana stopped twice. Also, it has an impact on neighboring countries because Ghana was selling power to the neighboring countries. So it's very important to manage properly the watershed. And the Ghanaian authority, mainly the press, not much the authority because they know the numbers, but the press in Ghana was complaining about Burkina Faso, because Burkina Faso has built several hundreds dams upstream, mainly to produce food and for livestock, but also for electricity, for hydroelectricity. So this has retained some water upstream, and for Ghanaians, the problem was that the Burkinabe kept too much water, and they proposed to the Burkinabe to sell power, instead of building new dams. But after the calculation of the hydrologists, they realized that Burkina catched only something like 3% of the stream. So they considered if it is for food security and if it's to produce hydroelectricity locally, it's not that big deal. And Burkina Faso is now building a new dam in Samandeni on the Mugun, on the Black Volta, close to Bobo, which is a very huge dam. But that will not reduce that much the stream, because when you have an hydroelectric dam, you let water go. You don't block it completely. It's not like a dam for irrigation where it's a consumption. Here it's you let the water go through the turbines, and it might be beneficial for the other dam downstream because it regulates the level of water. Okay, these are examples of a sub-watershed. A sub-watershed is a smaller fraction of the big watershed. For instance, in Burkina Faso, we divided the country in several sub-watersheds that can be managed separately. For instance, the watershed of Ziga is a catchment. The watersheds are also called catchment. Upstream of the Ziga dam. And you have downstream, then this is the Nakambe River, or the White Volta River. It goes through the Ziga Dam, and then through the Bagre Dam, and goes into Ghana. But the Ziga Dam, the technician there look at the watershed upstream to manage the water. This is for drinking water only, for Ouagadougou. And then the water continues into the Bagre Dam, and there it's to produce hydroelectricity and crops, irrigation, through irrigation and hydroelectricity. Here is the Kompega Dam. Here you have the Suru area with the Levi Dam, which is a very small dam. And right now they are constructing the Samandeni Dam upstream of the Muhun. And these are projects. This is Numbiel, the Bugu River, and the Samandeni Dam. So for this one, they will need a complete accord with the Ghanaian government, because the river goes between the two. So of course you need it. And through now the Volta River Authority, they need of course the agreement of Ghana to build these dams. This is an example now from France. France in 1964 created agencies, watershed agencies, and they were saying they were the first to create it. But in the United States, you had the Tennessee River Authority before, and Colorado also something. But France divided the whole country in several